Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to jump into your stack of sources again.
Yep, cutting through the noise.
Exactly. Pulling out those, key nuggets of knowledge and insight for you.
That's the plan. Think of us as guides, helping you get a handle on what these specific pieces are actually saying about the landscape right now.
And today, we're sort of wading into the crypto world. We've got a collection of recent articles, all contributors to CoinMarketCap.
Right, so it's a snapshot from various writers, various analysts, looking at the current state of play.
Our mission really is just to sift through them and pull out what seems most significant. And, well, sometimes what's pretty surprising, too.
Definitely some surprising bits in these.
Speaking of which, there's one article that kicks things off with a scenario designed to, well, grab your attention, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, which one is that?
The idea that Bitcoin's recent moves could, theoretically anyway, push its creator's estimated wealth past a huge name in traditional finance.
Ah, right. You mean the Satoshi Nakamoto versus Warren Buffett potential comparison?
It's exactly that one. Let's start there. With that big picture idea from CoinLineup.com, the possibility, if Bitcoin keeps climbing, that Satoshi's holdings might actually be valued higher than Buffett's fortune.
It is quite a striking way for that source to frame the potential scale, isn't it?
It really is.
It puts the reported growth into a perspective, comparing it to a titan of traditional investing. It really highlights the sheer value that's reportedly locked up in Bitcoin.
Definitely underscores the potential impact. And, okay, looking more broadly across these reports, we do see mentions of market sentiment, like the Crypto Newsland piece. It notes market optimism on the rise.
And that reported optimism, well, it seems to connect with some of the capital flow data mentioned elsewhere.
Oh, how so?
Well, there's a report citing CoinShares data that highlights a pretty significant influx last week, something like a $286 million surge into crypto funds.
Wow, $286 million in just 7 days. That's substantial. Did the source mention where that money was, like specifically going?
Yeah, the CoinShares data apparently pointed out that ETH actually led the way in purchases within that surge.
Interesting. So Ether's getting a lot of attention.
It seems so, according to that report. But it's important to add, the report also noted this inflow was happening alongside selling pressures elsewhere.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't presented as, a universally bullish picture across the entire market in that source. More complex than that.
That push and pull is interesting, isn't it? So inflow happening, but also some selling pressure. Where are investors focusing then, especially like in the altcoin space? Let's maybe shift gears there.
Sounds good.
There's often a lot of buzz around meme coins. One report from Coinpedia News looked at Shiba Inu, or SHIB. What did it say?
Well, that particular report noted SHIB's price seemed kind of stuck. It mentioned it was showing an oversold status.
Oversold status. Oh,
Which,
darn.
in technical analysis terms, that often suggests an asset might have been sold off more heavily than its fundamentals perhaps justify, potentially meaning it could be due for a bounce if sentiment shifts.
Right, a potential indicator.
Yeah.
What did that Coinpedia report say about the bigger players, the whales? Where are they looking if SG is facing these challenges?
It suggests that whales might be shifting towards new plays. That was the term used.
New plays.
Yeah. The article specifically mentioned another report where whales are apparently betting around $560,000 on a viral altcoin.
$560K on one viral coin.
Wow. Now, that exact dollar amount wasn't explicitly linked to one specific project in the sentence structure they used, but the Coinpedia piece did name Unilabs as one of these new plays, reportedly catching whale attention.
Okay, so Unilabs is one name popping up for whales, according to that source. A potential shift, then, from established meme coins towards newer things.
Yeah.
What about other, maybe more established altcoins mentioned in these sources?
Yeah, CoinMarketCap highlighted SUI, said it was gaining steam.
SUI. And why?
They linked its momentum to L2 hype, layer 2 solutions, technologies built on top of blockchains like Ethereum to speed things up and lower costs.
All right, scaling solutions. Makes sense there'd be interest there.
Exactly. That report suggests SUI is benefiting from that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And that same article also mentioned Monero, said it was holding steady in what it called privacy markets.
Ah, privacy coins. So that niche is still active, according to Coinomedia.
Seems to be their view, yeah.
Okay, so beyond the established names, these sources also pointed towards some emerging projects, right?
Yes, definitely. Coinomedia, for instance, presented Quebetics with, well, quite a bit of enthusiasm.
Now, so
They positioned it as potentially the top crypto presale, mentioned over $17.5 million raised in its presale already.
$17.5 million. That's significant momentum. What's driving that, according to them?
They attributed it to the project's focus on a real-world tokenization platform, putting things like property or art onto the blockchain. That whole narrative seems to be gaining traction.
Real-world assets, RWA. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big theme. Okay, any other new projects getting specific call-outs?
BlockDAG was another one. Crypto Newsland framed this one very strongly.
Strongly how?
Well, they positioned it as potentially the next big break, and at a price point of just 0.01 TNAME. They even called it the best crypto to buy now.
Whoa, best crypto to buy now. That's quite a claim.
And it's fascinating how this source presents it, right? They explicitly put BlockDAG alongside major established names like Binance Coin, BNB, Tron, TRX, and Near Protocol in that best crypto framing.
So they're putting it in the same league as those big players.
So according to that specific report, yes. It's important we just relay how they presented it.
Absolutely. And then there was that detail from coinlineup.com that really highlights the, let's say, unique nature of this market sometimes.
Oh, I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah. They reported that Moonshot launched something called FUCKCOIN on Solana.
That's the one.
And apparently, it already had a $9.6 million market cap.
It certainly adds another layer, doesn't it? It shows the sheer range of projects attracting capital.
Dope.
Everything from, complex tech platforms to, well, projects with very attention-grabbing names, apparently drawing multi-million-dollar valuations according to that source.
That's a wild spectrum. Okay, so shifting from those internal market dynamics, one article pointed to an external factor. BitcoinInfoNews.com talked about China issuing a warning amidst U.S. tensions.
Right, and that report specifically stated that this geopolitical development was, and I quote, impacting crypto markets and assets.
So just reporting that connection was made in that source.
Exactly. It serves as a reminder, based on that article, that even though crypto aims to be global and decentralized, these macro-level international relations can still apparently influence sentiment and activity, according to some analyses.
Right. So, okay, we've covered a lot here, from potentially massive wealth comparisons and significant fund flow.
All the varied altcoin trends, established coins facing issues, others gaining hype.
New projects getting spotlighted, sometimes very strongly by their sources.
And even these more unique coin launches, plus the macro factors like those reported tensions.
So what's the main takeaway for you, the listener, trying to make sense of all this based purely on these sources we've looked at?
Well, I think the key is that looking across this whole collection gives you a much more, let's say, textured view than just grabbing one headline.
Yeah, definitely more nuanced.
That Satoshi Buffett point, for example.
Yeah.
Even though it's a hypothetical from one source, it really hammers home the reported scale of potential wealth creation being discussed in this space.
And seeing where the money's reportedly flowing, like those fund inflows mentioned, especially into Ether, that gives you a clue about where maybe bigger capital is focusing right now, according to that data.
And all the altcoin details, S-Shibe's reported struggles, SUI benefiting from L2 talk, Monero holding its niche.
Plus the momentum behind projects like Quebetics and BlockDAGs, at least as presented by their sources.
Right. And even the FUCKCOIN example, it all just shows how incredibly varied the activity is. You've got serious tech plays, pure speculation, maybe cultural trends, all happening at once based on these reports. It highlights the different opportunities and risks being discussed.
It's definitely not one single story, is it? Lots of different threads.
Exactly. And like that Bitcoin Info News piece reminded us, the market doesn't exist in a bubble. It can reportedly react to real-world global stuff, too. Each article adds its own little piece to the puzzle of the current crypto landscape as painted by these contributors.
So we've gone from potential billionaire status, rivaling Wall Street legends, through hundreds of millions reportedly shifting around.
Across all sorts of altcoins, from the established to the brand new, some hyped as the next big thing by certain sources.
And even touched on how reported global tensions might be playing a role.
It's a broad, sometimes contradictory picture, but it's drawn directly from the material you gave us.
Okay, so here's maybe a final thought to leave you with, just pulling together some of those contrasting threads we found within these sources. What does it actually mean for the future of finance when, according to these reports, a single tech space can simultaneously fuel talk of billionaire wealth, rivaling traditional titans, see huge sums flow into both established networks and new platforms trying to tokenize the real world, and witness the launch and rapid valuation of coins literally named FUCKCOIN, all while apparently reacting to geopolitical shifts reported in the
It
news.
certainly makes you think, doesn't it, about all the different forces shaping this space right now. It's quite a mix.